Hello, hi. Let's take a quick look at the polyphonic blocks in the new Tangle pack release from Toybox. So, to start with, I have a Polyphonic Midi input here, which you can see. This is in the utility section of this polyphonic folder here in the pack. So here's the pack, Tangle pack. There's the blocks folder, then a blocks folder, polyphonic folder, and then a polyphonic folder, utility folder, and then utility folder. We have the MIDI in here. And that's where my silent keyboarding will turn magically into 5 polyphonic notes of synthesis, pure raw digital synthesis. So let's just carry on here. So we've got let's pick an oscillator. Let's go for the unison wavetable oscillator, although I think it's a stereo. Yeah, it's okay. We'll just take one side for the moment. So let's look at this polyphonic MIDI in quickly. Single MIDI, single modulation ports on this side. As you can see, the normal block in ports you recognise, and here are the polyphonic out ports with this extra little banding around to identify the power of the polyphony in these ports. So let's wire up the pitch to the pitch and the gate to the gate, and now that will do its thing. So we also need an envelope to shape the dynamics. So we feed that into here, left and right, and gate, and out here initially. Let's just do one side. So there you go. There's polyphony. That's what it's called. That's what it sounds like. That's basically it. It's as simple as that. Got 5 channels of polyphony, and they let's have a quick look at what we can do with those 5 channels of polyphony. So each of those channels is independent of each other. So if we were to use an effect like, say, something that's going to be a bit gritty, saturator, say, we're only going to use the left channel for the moment because that's this one that's plugged in there. So we'll pull the left channel into here, and then out that into there, and let's just create some raging distortion. Pretty brutal. Bit of that, bit of asymmetry, maybe, why not? And each of those notes has a separate saturation path applied to each of the... So, I mean, I don't need to explain myself anymore. It's like a polyphonic synthesizer. It's like one polyphonic... One polyphonic? It is a polyphonic synthesizer. 5-channel polyphony. You can stick your own effect. We've even got, check this out, Polyphonic Reverb. And I don't think I've seen Polyphonic Reverb in any synthesizer before. So that's a thing, I believe. And also, I mean, look, we've got polyphonic compression in delays and the folder. Let's try the folder. This is going to sound pretty brutal. In that and out that. I mean, this is, again, polyphonic. Let's... Oh, that's just my CPU having trouble. Nothing to worry about. That's my CPU loading the wavetables, I think. It's killing it. But each of these notes thank you, is being folded individually, so we get the build-up rather than all the tones moshed together to like a guitar going through a distortion pedal. This is like each string going through its own distortion pedal. I'm not sure I need to explain this any further. You people probably quite well understand what polyphony is in this regard. So that's kind of one of the main principles. The other cool stuff that's been built into this is this voice. There's obviously, the mind boggles at the possibilities of this kind of synthesis. But what's been added into this is this layer of where we can split the sound out. So voice in and voice out are the kind of bits that I wanted to look at. So voice out deconstructs the polyphonic stream from going in here. And then, so in order to keep this whole thing working, as you can see, all these ports are mono, normal block ports. That will function as you'd expect it to. But what we can do is we can now, each of these, I don't know if you noticed, but there's no banding around these ports. So these are basically monophonic. So we could, for example, stick a mono effect on this particular part of the chain. Let's stick a unison effect in there. Da-ba-da-dee, da-ba-da-doo. And now, so this fifth note here is now being delayed, or being detuned by this crazy detuning, this crazy unison function. And any note so the 5 notes you can hear are being cycled through. There you go. And you can kind of control, there's an element of control over those voicings as well. If we look at the voice sort function, this gives us the ability to kind of control how the voices are distributed through the synthesizer that you've created with your polyphonic stuff. So let's have a very quick look. Really don't want to dwell too much on this because I just want you to go and make noises. But in default mode, it will just it's kind of random distribution with through. With low to high, it will try to you can see on the notes here, it will try to distribute them in a way that makes sense to it. So if we start high, well, we didn't know what to do with them because we started so high. First to last. But this is basically different ways of sorting through these notes. So you could ensure that, for example, when you've let go, you always start at note at the first position. So if you know you're going to play, you could construct some notes in your MIDI regions to be the first note is always, for example, the bass note, and that's affected differently to the other 3 notes you might be playing on top of that badly chosen bass note that I just played there. So that's kind of the principle. So you can force the notes to behave in certain ways. With cycle mode, excellent for whatever kind of crazy things you can think up there. And I think note tries to do some kind of sensible distribution of the notes, although this isn't the best noise to show you, to have an example. We've got the detune still on maximum as well. So, yes, I won't bore you too much more, but I'm sure you can see the principle of this polyphonic function. Basically, it's 5 mono cables wrapped up into one, as if it's 5 polyphonic strings, 5 polyphonic chains of effects that you can build up when you've designed your little synthesizer in such a way, like this, for example. And you can deconstruct those channels with the voice out and do whatever crazy things here with your voice, do effects, do maths on it, do whatever you want to do, and then clap it all back again into a polyphonic object channel with one single cable, and that comes out into your envelope. And then, so I hope that gives you a little idea of what you can do with the Poly stuff. I daren't imagine what you'll do with it. Okay, thanks for watching. Have fun.